Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new movie review video. In this review, I'm going to talk about one of my absolute favorite films, and that is Waterworld with Kevin Costner that came out in 1995. This movie had a really rough start in theaters. At the time when they were producing it, you guys, between I think 1994 and 1995, I think it was. Don't take my word at face value, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. At the time when this was produced, it held a world record for the most expensive film ever made. It had a budget of, I believe, 175 to 185 million dollars. And when it came out in theaters, I think it only grossed about 250 to 265 million dollars, which is still a lot of money, but when you factor in the budget, etc., it just didn't do that good in theaters. And I never understood why. Now, I never saw it in theater. I waited until it came out. But when I watched that movie, you guys, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. In my opinion, it has a feel to it that no other movie has ever been able to accomplish. And that's largely due to the fact that most of this film takes place on water. And if my memory serves me well, and I believe it does, last time I did some research on this movie, they had a ton of issues with production due to weather, due to the location, because again, a lot of this takes place on water, you guys. But at the time when I watched this movie, and it still holds true to this day for me, no other film was able to capture the feel of that movie. I really don't understand why it didn't do that well. The action is awesome. The storyline is awesome. The acting is incredible. I think this is one of Kevin Costner's greatest roles. I'm not the biggest Kevin Costner fan. I'm just not. But I think that him playing who he did in that film, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. That movie has a charm to it that no other film has. Now, I'm not saying that it's my favorite film. I'm just saying that as an isolated film, it has a lot of charm to it, you guys. In my opinion, it has aged very, very well. Excuse me. So if you haven't seen Waterworld with Kevin Costner, the 1995 dystopian aquatic film, you've got to check it out, you guys. It's incredible. It's incredible. And compared to movies that are produced today in 2024, and it's been like this for years, you guys, most of the new films are fucking garbage. They suck. They suck. Now, I don't know if they were ever planning on doing a Waterworld 2. If my memory serves me well, and I think it does, I thought they had planned on doing it, but we're probably never going to get that. And if they do bring Waterworld back, it's probably going to be garbage, because for some weird reason, new films have this black cloud curse above them, where 99.9% of them, they just suck, you guys. They do. They emphasize way too much CGI, way too much action, not enough character develop, etc. And a lot of them just don't have a charm to them anymore. Waterworld does. I've always loved that film. And for me, you guys, like, I think I loved it so much because I've always been fascinated with water stuff, ocean stuff. Even though I don't like going in the ocean, I have some definite fears about swimming in the ocean. Long story short, I've always been fascinated by stuff that takes place in the water. For instance, like underwater video games like Echo the Dolphin for the Dreamcast. When I got my Dreamcast, that was the first game I got, because there's just not a lot of those types of games, right? There's not a lot of types of games that take place either underwater or... I think you catch my drift. Waterworld, it really tickled my imagination, and I had a lot of fun with it. And because of that, it will always be on probably my top 100 movie list. So I need to get another copy of it. I'm probably going to buy one tonight on eBay. I thought the sets were really cool, you guys. The sets were awesome. The atolls, they call them, like these floating cities. And I thought that the smokers were really interesting. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, guys, you've got to watch it. I just thought it was incredible. It'll always be one of my favorite films. So, guys, if you've seen Waterworld, what do you think about it? And how cool was Kevin Costner's boat, his catamaran? Do you guys remember? I think it's towards the beginning of the film. when he has a urine, basically a urine distillation device or a purification device where he urinates into it, and he has like all these contraptions. It's like an alchemical tool, and he has this pump that he pumps, and it takes his urine and purifies it and makes it drinkable. Like it's little details like that, and I know that may sound kind of weird, but I just thought that was fascinating. All the little tiny details, right? Like where food is so scarce, where boats will get robbed by pirates for food. Didn't Kevin Costner's boat get robbed of like a bunch of tomato plants? Also, it's been a while since I've seen it, and I need to watch it again, but I know damn well I'm gonna love it, because if I loved a movie 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, I'm gonna love it now. The films that I fell in love with when I was younger are timeless classics to me, because they contain not only a lot of nostalgia, but a lot of my favorite films, long story short, they have this imagination to them. They have this character, this charm that I simply cannot find in modern movies. I can't find it. Now, I was pretty young at the time. God, I was probably 6 when Waterworld came out. So when you're younger, you guys, and you watch movies, it's much easier to get an attachment to them. Whereas when you watch stuff as an adult, you're analyzing things in a more scrutinous fashion, with more scrutiny, excuse me. But man, I think that modern movies they don't have that charm anymore, you guys. They just don't. So Waterworld is a 10 out of 10. The only part that seemed kind of cheesy with the CGI and the computer generated animations was that like floating at the top of one of the atolls, they have, which is like a floating city. They have this, it's like a hot air balloon of sorts. And if my memory serves me well, I remember even watching it back then thinking that looks pretty cheesy, but who gives a shit? Most of the action looks totally real, and I'm going to have to do some research on it, because I think that they probably used a lot of like physical sets instead of computer animation, etc. Again, they had a huge budget. At the time, $175 million. According to my research, it was the most expensive film ever made at the time. So this was a big, ambitious project, and in my opinion, even though it didn't do that great in theaters, they hit the nail right on the head. I don't think they could have made that movie any better. In fact, I hope they don't make Waterworld 2. Because if they make Waterworld 2 here in the woke world, here as we inchworm towards 2025, they're probably going to butcher it just like everything else. The trailers for new movies look nauseating. Have you guys seen the new Spawn trailer? What are they doing to these classics? Why are they ruining everything? Who all of the sudden got into management? Who's controlling all this shit? Whatever happened to good story development and writing? Man, it's fucking stupid. It's so dumb. Why can't we have films like this anymore? The Lord of the Rings. Why can't we get stuff like this anymore? What happened to entertainment? Is this a joke? A lot of these new movies are so stupid that it almost feels like it's intentional. Like you'd have to go out of your way to make it that bad. Who is in control here? Man, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Waterworld, 10 out of 10. One of my favorites. Cult classic. Awesome setting. Awesome story. Awesome characters. It has a feeling that no other film does. Check it out.